The massive creature stood 12 feet tall in the reinforced containment chamber, its black skin shining under the bright lights of Research Station Omega-7. Ambassador Park Jin-ho watched through the thick glass as the Warbeast's yellow eyes followed every person moving in the observation room above. The creature was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Its body was covered in thick, dark scales that looked like armor. Long claws extended from its hands, each one sharp enough to cut through metal. When it opened its mouth, rows of white teeth gleamed in the light. But it was the eyes that made everyone nervous, bright yellow, and always watching, always thinking. "This is our 15th facility," said Commander Veltar of the Zeltharian Defense Force. His blue skin looked pale as he spoke. The creature destroyed the others within hours of being put inside. The commander pulled up images on the main screen. Twisted metal and broken walls filled the display. Each picture showed the same thing, complete destruction. The creature had torn through every prison they built for it. Dr. Kim Hanna, the station's chief scientist, touched her tablet and brought up more reports. 43 people have died trying to contain this thing. The Kryn Empire sent their best animal trainers. All of them are still in the hospital. Even the mind-reading Mandari couldn't get into its head. The Warbeast had appeared 3 months ago on the dead planet Zarian 4. A mining team found it sleeping in ancient ruins. At first, they thought it was just a statue. The creature was so still, so quiet. But when they got closer, it woke up. The miners never had a chance to run. The rescue team found the mining camp destroyed. Equipment was scattered everywhere. Buildings had been torn apart like paper. But the strangest part was that nothing was eaten. The creature had killed, but not for food. It seemed to destroy things just because it could. The first containment team thought they could handle it, Dr. Kim continued. They used sleep gas and neural stunners. The creature went down easy enough. Too easy, we know now. The transport ship barely made it to the first research station. The creature woke up during the flight and nearly tore the ship apart. The emergency force fields kept it from reaching the crew. Station. Alpha 1 was built to hold the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. Triple reinforced walls. Energy barriers that could stop a battleship. 8. The best security system money could buy. The creature broke out in 6 hours. It learned, Commander Veltar said, his voice quiet. Each time we caught it, it got smarter. It started testing the walls before it broke them. Found the weak spots faster. Station after station fell, but a 2 lasted for hours. Gamma 9 was destroyed in 2. The creature never hurt anyone who didn't try to stop it, but it would not be caged. Every prison they built, it tore apart. The Kryn Empire heard about the creature and sent their best beast tamers. The Kryn had trained animals from 1,000 worlds. They spoke in low, calming voices. They brought special tools and ancient techniques passed down for generations. The creature listened to them for exactly 30 seconds. Then it roared. So loud that 3 tamers went deaf. The Mindari were our last hope, Dr. Kim said. They can read the thoughts of any living thing. They've never failed before. The Mindari were tall, thin beings with large heads and no hair. Their minds were so powerful, they could control wild animals just by thinking at them. 5 of the strongest Mindari came to station. Delta 12, they stood outside the creature's cell and reached out with their minds. The creature looked at them. For a moment, everyone thought it would work. The Mindari's eyes glowed with concentration. The creature tilted its head, almost like it was listening. Then it smiled. Not a happy smile, but something cold and dangerous. The Mindari screamed. All 5 of them fell to the ground at the same time. When they woke up hours later, they refused to talk about what they had seen in the creature's mind. The Warbeast suddenly roared. A sound that shook the reinforced walls of Station Omega-7. Its claws scraped against the quantum steel barriers, leaving deep cuts that shouldn't have been possible. The metal was supposed to be unbreakable. Nothing in the galaxy could cut through quantum steel. Nothing except this creature. The Galactic Council meets tomorrow, Ambassador Park said quietly. If we can't find a solution, they'll vote to destroy it. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. The Galactic Council never made decisions lightly. They had spent months trying to find another way. Every species in the galaxy had offered help. The best minds, the strongest weapons, the most advanced technology. Nothing worked. Some council members said the creature was too dangerous to live. Others argued that destroying it would be like burning down a library. The creature was the last of its kind. When it died, an entire species would be gone forever. But how do you save something that destroys everything it touches? In the chamber below, the ancient creature continued its endless pacing. Back and forth. Back and forth. Its yellow eyes never stopped moving. It watched the scientists above, tested the walls with its claws. It was always thinking, always planning. The creature had no idea that tomorrow the galaxy's leaders would decide whether it lived or died. It only knew that it was trapped again, in another cage, by beings it didn't understand. As the station's lights dimmed for the night cycle, the creature finally stopped pacing. It sat down in the center of the chamber and looked up at the observation window. For just a moment, its yellow eyes seemed almost sad. Then it went back to planning its escape. Dr. Lee Minho stepped off the transport shuttle, his boots making soft sounds on the metal floor of Research Station Omega-7. Behind him, 6 other humans walked in a line. They carried simple bags and wore plain clothes. They looked very different from the aliens who had come before them. The alien delegates were waiting in the main conference room. They sat around a large table made of silver metal.
Their faces
showed doubt and worry. Some had blue skin, others had green scales, and a few had no hair at all. They had been trying to solve the Warbeast problem for months. Humans, said High Researcher Kethanel of the Altarian Science Collective. He was tall and thin, with purple skin and 4 arms. His voice was full of doubt. Your species has no mind-reading powers. You have no special weapons to calm wild animals.
What?
Can you possibly do that? We haven't tried? The other aliens nodded their heads. They had seen the best minds in the galaxy fail. The Kryn Empire's animal trainers were still in the hospital. The powerful Mindari had run away screaming.
8.
Could these simple humans do? Observation, Dr. Lee replied in a calm voice. And patience? High Researcher Kethanol laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Observation? We have watched this creature for 3 months. We have cameras that can see inside its cells. We have sensors that can count its heartbeats. What more is there to observe? Sometimes, said Dr. Shinyuna, stepping forward, the most important things are the ones we don't think to look for. The aliens looked at each other. They had used the most advanced technology in the galaxy. They had machines that could read thoughts and weapons that could stop time itself. How could simple watching be better than that? For 3 days, the human team did nothing but watch. They sat in the observation room above the creature's cell. They took notes on paper, real paper, not electronic tablets. They drew pictures with pencils. The aliens thought this was very strange. Dr. Shinyuna watched the creature's sleep patterns. She noticed that it always slept in the same corner of the cell. It would curl up like a cat, but it never seemed to sleep deeply. Every few minutes, its eyes would open and look around. It's afraid, she told Dr. Lee. Look how it keeps its back to the wall. It's protecting itself even while it sleeps. Dr. Choi Dae-sung listened to the sounds the creature made. The aliens had recorded every roar and growl, but they had missed the quiet sounds. The creature made soft clicking noises when it was alone. It hummed low songs to itself. Sometimes it made sounds that almost sounded like crying. These aren't angry sounds, Dr. Choi said. They're lonely sounds. The humans noticed other things too. The creature's pacing wasn't random. It walked in the same pattern every time, around the edge of the cell, then to the center, then back to the wall. It was like a dance, but a sad one. When the creature ate, it always saved some food. It would hide pieces in the corners of the cell. Dr. Lee had seen this behavior. Foreign animals that had been hungry for a long time. It's exhibiting stress indicators, Dr. Shin reported to the Alien Council on the 3rd day. The pacing pattern suggests anxiety, not aggression. Commander Veltar stood up so fast that his chair fell over. His blue face turned darker with anger, stress. he said, his voice full of hate. That stressed creature killed 17 of my best soldiers. It destroyed 15 research stations. It's a monster, not a pet. The other aliens murmured agreement. They had lost friends and family to this creature. They had spent fortunes trying to contain it. They were tired of failure. Animals that are scared often become dangerous, Doctor. Lee said quietly. A cornered animal will fight harder than one that feels safe. Then what do you suggest? Asked High Researcher Cathanal. Should we give it a comfortable bed and ask it nicely to behave? Dr. Lee ignored the sarcasm. We need to try communicating with it, but not with force or mind control. We need to show it that we're not a threat. The aliens looked at each other. They had tried everything else. Maybe the humans deserved one chance. The next day, Dr. Lee and his team prepared for their first attempt at communication. They didn't bring any weapons or special equipment. They just walked down to the lower level where they could get closer to the creature's cell. The creature saw them coming. It had been pacing, but it stopped when the humans appeared. It's yellow. Eyes followed their every move. Its body tensed like a spring ready to snap. Dr. Lee raised his hands slowly to show he had no weapons. He spoke in a soft, calm voice. Hello, he said. We're not here to hurt you. The creature tilted its head. For a moment it seemed curious. Dr. Shin stepped forward and made soft clicking sounds with her tongue. Copying the sounds the creature made when it was alone, the creature's eyes went wide. It had never heard another being make those sounds before. Clicked back, louder this time. Dr. Choi began to hum one of the low songs the creature sang to itself. The melody was strange and sad, but he had practiced it for hours. The creature stopped moving entirely. It stared at the humans with something that might have been wonder. For the first time in months, it seemed truly interested instead of angry. But then Dr. Lee made a mistake, took one step too close to the cell. The creature's mood changed instantly. It saw the movement as a threat, and with a roar that shook. The walls, it threw itself against the barriers. The impact was so strong that cracks appeared in the quantum steel. Alarms began to sound. The creature hit the wall again and again, its claws tearing at the metal. The humans had to run. The creature was more violent than ever before. Their attempt at communication had made things worse. In the observation room above, High Researcher Kethanel shook his head. Another failure, he said. Prepare the destruction protocols. This creature dies tomorrow. 8-year-old Park Ji-ho pressed his small face against the cool glass window. Below him, the enormous creature moved back and forth in its metal prison. The boy's breath made small clouds on the glass as he watched with wide, curious eyes in the big meeting room behind. Grown-ups from 12 different planets were talking very loudly. They used big words that Ji-ho didn't understand. Words like orbital bombardment and cryogenic solutions. But he knew they were talking about hurting the creature. And that made him feel sad. His father, Ambassador Park, stood at the head of the long table. He'd been talking for hours with aliens who had blue skin, green scales, and strange eyes. They all looked worried and angry. Some of them had lost friends to the creature. Others had spent lots of money trying to catch it. Did we have no choice, said a tall alien with purple skin. The creature is too dangerous. It must be destroyed. But it's the last one of its kind, argued another alien with silver hair. If we kill it, there will never be another like it. Geo stopped listening to the adults. They had been saying the same things over and over. Instead, he looked down at the creature through the thick glass. Look at how it moves, Jiho whispered to himself. The creature was walking in the same pattern again. Around the edges of the room, then to the middle, then back to the wall. It never stopped moving. But the way it walked reminded Jiho of something. His grandmother had an old dog named Bori. Bori was brown and white with floppy ears. When thunder came during storms, Bori would walk in circles around the house, round and round, never stopping until the storm went away. Just like Bori, Jiho said quietly. The creature had something that might be ears. They were small and hard to see, but they moved when sounds came from above. Every time someone in the meeting room raised their voice, the creature's ears would twitch. Its whole body would get tense. The boy noticed something else. The creature always stayed close to the far wall of its prison. It never went to the middle of the room for long. It kept its back protected, like it was afraid something might sneak up behind it. It's scared, Jiho realized suddenly. The words came out louder than he meant them to. Some of the adults looked at him, but they were too busy arguing to really listen. They went back to their important talk about weapons and force fields, but Jiho kept watching. He saw things the grown-ups were too busy to notice. When Dr. Lee had tried to talk to the creature yesterday, something interesting had happened. The creature had been curious at first. It had made soft sounds back at the humans. But then Dr. Lee had taken a step forward, and everything changed. The creature had backed away before it attacked. The teat had lowered its head and moved backward. Jiho had seen that exact same thing before. His neighbor, Mrs. Kim, had a rescue dog named Maru. Maru had been hurt by people before Mrs. Kim adopted him. When new people came to visit, Maru would do the same thing. He would lower his head and step back. If the person kept coming closer, Maru would growl and show his teeth. "It's exactly like Maru," Jiho whispered. The creature wasn't mean, it was just scared. All the scientists and soldiers and important people had been trying to force it to obey. They had used sleep gas and mind control and energy weapons. But that just made it more frightened. Jiho remembered what his grandmother had taught him about scared animals. "Never chase a frightened animal," she used to say. "Let it come to you." The adults were still arguing. They were talking about big space guns that could destroy the creature from far away. They were talking about freezing it in ice forever. They were talking about sending it to a dead planet where it could never hurt anyone. But none of them were talking about why the creature was so angry. Jiho looked down through the glass again. The creature had stopped pacing. It was standing in the middle of its prison, looking up. Its yellow eyes were staring right at him. The boy didn't move. He just looked back at the creature. It was so big and scary looking. Its black skin was covered in scales that looked like armor. Its claws were longer than Jiho's whole hand. Its teeth were sharp and white. But its eyes didn't look angry. They looked tired and sad and very, very lonely. The creature tilted its head to one side, just like Bori used to do when he was trying to understand something. The boy tilted his head the same way. For a long moment, they just looked at each other. The small human boy and the giant alien creature. Neither of them moved. Then the creature did something that made Jiho's heart jump. It sat down. Slowly, carefully, it lowered its big body to the floor. It kept looking up at the boy, but it wasn't standing anymore. "You're not scary," Jiho whispered to the glass. "You're just scared." The creature's ears twitched at the sound of his voice. It made a soft clicking sound, the same sound Dr. Choi had heard it make when it was alone. Jiho had never heard a sound like that before. Somehow he understood what it meant. The creature was trying to talk to him. It was trying to say hello. The boy pressed his hand against the glass. Far below, the creature lifted one of its big claws and pressed it against the wall, right below where the boy's hand was. They couldn't touch each other through the thick glass and metal, but they were trying to connect anyway. In the meeting room, the adults were still arguing. They were making plans to destroy the creature. They were too busy being important to see what was happening right in front of them. But Jiho saw. And for the first time since the creature had been captured, someone understood what it really needed. It didn't need to be fought or controlled or destroyed. It needed a friend. The Galactic Council's vote was over. 12 species, 12 votes. All the same, the Warbeasts would die within the hour. "The quantum disintegration array is being prepared," announced High Researcher Cathanal to the room full of alien delegates. "We will fire it from a safe distance. The creature will be destroyed instantly." The aliens began to file out of the meeting room. Some looked sad, others looked relieved. They had tried everything else. Now there was only one choice left: Ambassador. Park gathered his papers and prepared to leave.
Ow.
The decision was made. His job here was done. He would take his son home and try to forget about the creature that could not be saved. But when he looked around the observation deck, his son was nowhere to be found. "Jiho," he called out. "Jiho, where are you?" The boy had been watching through the glass just a few minutes ago. Now the area was empty, except for a few scientists packing up their equipment. "Young Park?" Jiho had slipped away when the adults were busy talking. He knew they were going to hurt the creature. He had heard them say the big scary words about weapons and destruction. He couldn't let that happen. The corridors of the space station were almost empty now. Most of the people had been moved to safe areas far from the creature's prison. The hallways that were usually full of scientists and soldiers were quiet, and dark security protocols had been relaxed during the emergency preparations. The guards who usually watched every door were busy helping with the big weapon they were building. No one noticed one small boy walking through the halls. Jiho took the elevator down to the lower levels. He had been here before with his father during the grand tour of the station. He remembered the way to the creature's chamber. The elevator doors opened with a soft sound. The boy stepped out into a hallway that was much closer to the creature's prison. He could hear it moving around down here, sound of big claws on metal floor, the soft breathing of something very large. His heart was beating fast, but he wasn't scared. He was excited. Finally, he could talk to the creature without all the adults watching and making noise. At the end of the hallway was a door marked Lower Access Platform. Jiho had to stand on his toes to reach the button that opened it. The door slid away with a whoosh. Inside was a small room with a big window. But this window was much closer to the creature's prison than the one upstairs. Down here, the boy could see everything clearly. The Warbeast noticed him immediately. It had been pacing again, walking its worried circle around the room. But when it saw the small human, it stopped moving. The creature didn't roar or hit the walls like it did when the adults came. It just stood there and looked at the boy. Its yellow eyes were bright and curious. Up close, Jiho could see so many things the adults had missed. The creature's breathing was fast and shallow, like it had been running. Its big claws were digging small holes in the metal floor, not because it was angry, but because it was nervous. The boy could see scars on the creature's dark skin, old marks that told the story of a hard life. Some of the scars looked like they came from fights with other animals. Others looked like they came from accidents or falls. "You're just lost, aren't you?" the boy said softly in Korean. The creature's ears twitched at the sound of his voice. It took a small step closer to the window. Then Jiho switched to standard, Galactic, the language that all the space people used. "Out. You don't understand what's happening." The creature tilted its massive head to one side. The movement was so familiar it made Jiho's heart feel tight. It was exactly what his grandmother's dog Bori used to do when he was trying to understand human words. Bori would sit by grandmother's feet and tilt his head just like that. His brown eyes would get wide and curious. He would make soft sounds to show he was listening, even though he couldn't understand the words. This creature was doing the same thing. It was trying so hard to understand what the boy was saying. It wanted to communicate, but it didn't know how. Jiho remembered all the times he had helped his grandmother train Bori. She had taught him that scared animals needed calm, clear commands. They needed to know what was expected of them. "The most important thing," grandmother had said, "is to speak with confidence. Animals can hear the fear in your voice. If you sound scared, they will be scared too." The boy took a deep breath and made his voice calm and steady. He used the same tone his grandmother had taught him for training dogs. It was firm, but not angry. Clear, but not loud. Above them, he could hear the sounds of the adults preparing their weapon. Soon they would fire it, and the creature would be gone forever. But right now, in this moment, it was just a boy and a scared animal. Jiho spoke one simple word, a word that dogs and cats and horses all over Earth understood, a word that meant I am in charge, but I won't hurt you, a word that crossed species and language barriers. Sit. The word came out clear and strong. The boy put all of his confidence into that one simple command. The Warbeast looked at him for a moment that seemed to last forever. Then, slowly, it lowered its massive body to the floor. Its haunches touched the ground. Its front legs stayed straight. Its tail, if it had one, stayed still. For the first time in weeks, the creature was completely motionless. Its yellow eyes stayed fixed on the small human above. It was waiting to see what would happen next. The boy smiled. "Good," he said softly. Good sit. The creature made a soft clicking sound. It was the same sound it made when it was alone, but now it sounded happy instead of sad. In the distance, alarms began to sound. The adults had discovered that the boy was missing.
Soon
They would come looking for him. Soon they would find him here with the creature. But for now, everything was quiet. A boy and a creature, understanding each other at last. The control room erupted in stunned silence. Every screen in the room showed the same impossible sight, the untamable Warbeast sitting calmly on the floor. Looking up at 8-year-old Park Ji-ho like a well-trained pet. Impossible, whispered high researcher Ketanal, his 4 purple arms hung limp at his sides. Our most advanced mind control machines couldn't make this creature obey. How did a child do it? Dr. Lee Min-ho was already pressing buttons on his computer, running tests on what he was seeing. His hands shook with excitement. It's not mind control, he said. It's not forcing the creature to obey. Look at its body language. It's relaxed. It wants to follow the command. Commander Veltar stared at the screens in disbelief. This creature killed 17 of my soldiers. It destroyed 15 space stations. And now it's sitting like a house pet. It's recognition, Dr. Lee continued, his voice getting louder with excitement. This isn't a wild creature at all. It's domesticated. It's been trained before. The alien delegates crowded around the screens. They had never seen anything like this. For months, the creature had been a monster. Now it looked like a gentle giant waiting for its next command. On the screen, young Ji-ho was talking to the creature in a soft voice. The boy couldn't be heard through the thick glass, but his body language was calm and confident. The creature's yellow eyes never left the boy's face. Get the boy out of there, ordered Ambassador Park. He had just arrived, having heard that his son was missing. It's too dangerous. But Dr. Kim Hannah held up her hand. Wait, look at them. Really look. The creature was making soft clicking sounds, the same sounds it made when it was alone. But now the sounds were different. They were happy sounds. The creature's whole body was relaxed. Its claws weren't digging into the floor anymore. The boy is talking to it, Dr. Kim said in wonder, and is talking back. Over the following days, the truth slowly emerged. Teams of scientists studied the creature's behavior with new eyes. They looked at the scars on its skin more carefully. They analyzed the sounds it made. They studied the way it moved. The creature wasn't wild at all. It was a companion animal from a civilization that had died out thousands of years ago. The mining team had found it sleeping in the ruins of what they thought was a temple. But it wasn't a temple. It was a home. The creature had been waiting there for millennia, sleeping in the ruins of its family's house. When the miners woke it up, it was confused and frightened. It had been alone for so long that it had forgotten how to trust. It's like finding a dog that's been lost in the woods for years, Dr. Lee explained to the assembled council. It remembers being loved, but it's forgotten how to show love, scared of being hurt again. Ji-ho had named the creature Buddy, and the name stuck. Within a week, Buddy was eating from the boy's hand. Within 2 weeks, it was playing gentle games with him. The creature that had once destroyed space stations was now carefully catching soft balls that Ji-ho threw to it. The child recognized what we couldn't, Dr. Kim Hannah admitted to the council. That fear and aggression often masked loneliness and confusion. We saw a monster because we were looking for one. Ji-ho saw a scared animal because he was looking with his heart. The transformation was remarkable. Buddy's whole personality changed once it realized it was safe. It became playful and gentle. It learned to respond to simple commands in several languages. It even learned to shake hands with its massive claws. The galactic community was amazed. News of the boy who tamed the untamable beast spread across the galaxy. Scientists from hundreds of worlds came to study what had happened. Within months, the Galactic Council established something new, the Human-Animal Interface Protocol. From now on, when dealing with untamable creatures, human consultants would be called first. Humans had something that advanced technology couldn't replicate: the ability to understand the emotional needs of animals. Buddy became the galaxy's first interstellar therapy animal. Its gentle nature and massive size made it perfect for helping traumatized beings across dozens of worlds. War veterans who couldn't sleep found peace lying next to Buddy's warm body. Children who had lost their families found comfort in its patient presence. Park Ji-ho became known as the youngest xenobiological consultant in galactic history. But he didn't care about the fancy title, just liked visiting Buddy at its new home in the interspecies. Harmony Center, the center, was built specially for Buddy and other rescued creatures. It had wide open spaces where Buddy could run and play. It had soft grass where it could lie in the sun. It had a small house where it could sleep safely at night. But Buddy's favorite place was the visiting room, where Ji-ho came to see it every week. "Hello, Buddy," Ji-ho would say, and the massive creature would come running like a puppy. It would sit at the boy's feet and make happy clicking sounds. Sometimes it would gently put its huge head in the boy's lap. Ji-ho also helped teach other people how to work with Buddy. He showed alien children how to approach the creature slowly and calmly. He taught them the hand signals that Buddy understood. He helped them learn to read the creature's body language. "Never make sudden movements," he would tell them. "And always let Buddy smell your hand first. It's just like meeting any other." Animal Ambassador Park often watched his son working with Buddy and the other children. He had been so worried when Ji-ho first approached the creature. Now he was proud of what his son had accomplished. "You've saved its life," he told Ji-ho one day, as they watched Buddy playing with a group of young aliens. "No, Dad," Ji-ho replied. "Just listen to what it was trying to tell us." It was never a monster. It was just lonely, as they watched Buddy. Gently picked up a small alien child with its huge claws and placed the giggling youngster on its back for a ride. It's the creature that had once terrorized the galaxy. It's now bringing joy to children across the stars. Sometimes the most complex problems really did have the simplest solutions. And sometimes the best solutions came from the most unexpected places. The end.